Welcome to Conversations. My name is Jason Plotkin. I'm the program director at Congregation Emanu, and the goal of what we're going to be doing is weekly gatherings with a member of the congregation, the community, or possibly even someone from the sports world to discuss the current state of affairs. This week's special guest is Pastor Michael Dunn from our neighbors at First Christian Church. We're going to learn a little bit about Pastor Dunn, touch on what his church is doing during the pandemic, and then circle back to his relationship with the clergy in our community, including, Congregation Emanu. So first off, welcome, Pastor Dunn. How are you doing?
I'm holding up. The way I've been kind of phrasing it is I feel like I'm just kind of rolling with it like everybody else. And I'm grateful that the role is relatively easy, all things considered. So I'm just rolling with it, Yeah, but good.
That's great. For those in our community that don't know you, tell us a bit about yourself and how you became the pastor at First Christian Church.
Yeah. Didn't grow up in a Christian home that was active. Was in college when I became a Christian, made that decision. Grew up in Virginia, spent about 20 years in East Tennessee. And during that time, decided on seminary and to be in ministry, and then came to First Christian in Houston in 2001. So I've been here almost 20 years, and I came here after a 10-year ministry in East Tennessee, and so I've been here almost about 20 years.
Wow! So we're a year away from that 20th anniversary, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
So at Emmanuel, we always talk about what the vision is for the synagogue and for our clergy. If you had a quick elevator pitch about what you view as the priorities of your role as a clergy member, what would that be?
So the priorities of my role as a clergy member.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think that affirming the vision that we have all together gathered around and that we share, and to continue to affirm that and call us to live that out. And for us, it's about vital faith, right? And helping people experience what faith can really do to us in a really deep way, in a broad way, right? And that's sort of my key role. I think I would define in terms of our context.
Got it. Now let's turn our attention to the pandemic. What is First Christian Church doing right now to remain connected with its constituent base?
Yeah. So in the early stages, it was calling everybody. Which is really interesting because one of the good results is our database has gotten up to really good shape, right? Because we had to get everybody's information and get it all correct, and and then staying connected. And so I have an incredible group of lay leader elders. Sorry for the background noise. A group of lay leader elders who just really are making those calls on a regular basis just to stay connected with people, and then identifying needs and responding to the needs as they come up, whatever they may be, and then keeping us all connected with what those needs are. So we've talked about it in terms of taking care of our body, but also we have to also think, how do we take care of the larger body of which we are a part? And that's how we see that, which is, our neighbors, our immediate neighbors and beyond. And so, so that's, that's how we kind of see taking care of ourselves at this point.
Now, obviously, in the Jewish community and at Emmanuel, our focus was on Passover a few weeks ago. Right. Tell us a little bit about your experience with Easter this year and how Easter festivities and the lead up to Easter looked very different this year versus usual years.
Yeah, it's interesting. Obviously the people aren't there, and there's something that comes with that you lose. But I think that it's like it actually opened us up to a new way, or maybe reaffirmed a way of understanding Easter in particular, and resurrection, and specifically in that. And because it's amazing how close you can feel with people when you're on a computer through Zoom, right? And you realize that there's something that's there that connects us. Well, when you think about resurrection that way, man, that becomes a really powerful thing. And so I think that it's probably shaped us in a good way, at least just thinking about it out loud right now.
And then, one of the things I'm talking about with colleagues, and I'm sure you are as well, we're all doing stuff differently during the pandemic. What are some of the things that you weren't doing prior to the pandemic that you think you'll do going forward based upon your own experiences right now?
That's a really great question. And the real easy one is live streaming Facebook Live. And that is what we had to start in this, that we will continue to carry on forward. And when you think about it, why wouldn't you? When we come back to in person, why wouldn't you not continue to do live stream? It's just there more opportunity and more ways to connect more people, right? And so that's one immediate thing. And I think that one thing that's going to change is we've had to really get clear about how we as a leadership of this congregation work together. Because what we're realizing is that when you're in crisis management, you really got to do things fast and quick, and you got to be able to deal with that. And so that's one thing that I'm learning is that'll stay in a good way. That'll shape us in a good way. That'll continue. So I'm just talking off the top of my head here. So.
Oh no, it's all good. It's amazing because even at Congregation Emmanuel, we are already Facebooking live, but it's key about making your worship, making your learning accessible as many ways as possible, and trying to figure out what's the best route to reach who you're trying to reach. So it's all fascinating. Speaking about relationships with people, you have a very unique relationship with Rice, and I know you're working specifically to help Rice Police Department right now. Tell us about that relationship and what your church is doing to help the folks at Rice.
Yeah, so I do. I really love the relationship I have with Rice, which is officially through Duncan College, which is one of the residential colleges there. Through their associates program, I'm a community associate. And so just having that relationship with the students of that college, it's been really, really amazing for me. And, as I'm there more, I've also gotten to know the Rice Police Department. And over the years, being so close, they've asked me to come to bring a prayer or something at an opening of one of their swearing-in ceremonies. And I just had the privilege not only to pray, but to speak a little bit and pray at the swearing-in ceremony of Clemente Rodriguez, who's now Police Chief Clemente Rodriguez. And so how we and so as we really, sorry for the background noise.
No problem.
As it can be a little bit of a helpless feeling as a pastor in a local congregation to think in terms of what is there that we can do for the people around us. So it can feel helpless, but when you begin to ask that, you just begin to see what there's out there. And so we have a neighbor, our neighbors are Rice University Police Department, and we had done a meal with them before, and we thought, let's just feed them.
It's so nice.
And it's been really nice to invite the neighborhood through the University Place Association, our neighbors right here around Rice University to participate in that, which I think is a way of bringing us all closer together, right?
Oh, no question. I think the University Place Association has built a lot of good relationships that we all thrive off of. And now, keeping on with the community, your relationship with Rabbi Heon is well documented in the clergy here in this vicinity around Emmanuel, around Rice, around First Christian. Tell us what makes those ties so special, particularly, in a time like this or during Hurricane Harvey, to have those colleagues to lean on.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. My first thought was, I hope it's not too well documented. Some of it we don't want out there, right? And
That's true.
so the four of us have started out as colleagues and also now become friends. And I know, man, I know that when we were in the early stages, before the churches had really decided not to gather, I say churches, that our faith communities really stopped to gather in person. Going through that decision process, it was really helpful to have somebody I could just really kind of text or call and say, hey, what are you all thinking, right? And I think it made us all sort of be able to respond and react. It's another resource for us, right? And
Right.
to have that's real special and real important. I think that's one way I really experienced that this time.
And then, my last question is, I think we're always looking for positive words from, leaders in the community like yourself, like our leadership in government. If you had a few positive words to end our conversation on today, what would you tell those who are watching this little bit of an interview?
Yeah, well, I tell you what, first of all, is how grateful and thankful I am. Right now, I'm identifying that.
Yeah. What else?
I'm out here working my booth.
Yeah.
Giving people a chance to guess. So, and I really want to make sure this got heard because how grateful I am. And when I think about the things around me, I'm really grateful for those people in leadership who are helping to make some of those decisions and navigating all of that. And that's the other thing, man. I felt how things have shifted and changed, but I imagine on a greater scale, the city has had to do this, and I just really am grateful for that, and I have some empathy with that a little bit.
Well, I think we all have empathy for the people who are having to make the difficult decisions.
Yeah.
These are unheard of times in our lifetime, and I'm just so appreciative for your friendship, your partnership, and of course, being the first person I've interviewed on this weekly series. So thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to share with everybody?
No, just grateful to be a part of this, and doing this, Jason, makes me feel even more connected. So thanks.
Well, I appreciate you again. And then for all those who are watching, be on the lookout for our interview series to continue next week. Pastor Dunn, always a pleasure to be with you, either remotely or in person, and I look forward to seeing you shortly.